What's going on, guys? Welcome to another brand new episode of Profiling Passionate People. I'm your host, Solomon Ladvinka. And again, today, you guys don't want to see me in my childhood jerseys because it's just going to be too tight and I can't breathe. But I tried rocking the purple, Lakers, land of a thousand lakes, some purple. I hope you guys know where I'm going with this. And we're going to be talking about some Minnesota Vikings. And I'll tell you in a second how I found a Vikings fan because everyone that I kept asking kept turning me down. But I got my buddy Josh Halladay here. And Josh, how you doing, sir?
Doing great, Solomon. How are you?
I'm doing great, buddy. And I'm hearing that you're joining us from Seattle today. So how's the weather outside up there?
Lovely. We
Oh,
don't have rain for once.
hey, I'm in love with Seattle. If I was ever to be offered a job up there, I'd be there hands down as quickly as I can. But so you and we go way back, all of probably 3 messages ago, and I
Yeah.
was desperately looking for a Vikings fan, and the power of social media, just being able to hashtag Skull or finding Facebook groups, and I came across a Vikings Facebook group, and I saw you had commented on somebody's post, or maybe you had posted something, but I was like, hey, this dude seems like he knows what he's talking about. And sure enough, I got cute with it. I slid into your DMs and thankfully you opened. So here we are today. I love the background. We got, what is that, Daniil Hunter jersey you got on right now?
Yep.
Nice. And then I see the Tarkenton, I see the Thielen, I see the Moss. I mean, there's just so many great Vikings, and I want to know, how did you become a Vikings fan? Because what we were talking about earlier, obviously you're born and raised originally in Portland and now living up in Seattle. So tell the viewers, how did you become a Vikings fan?
Yeah. So my dad, he was a diehard Vikings fan from the time they became an NFL team back in 1961. Passed that
Wow.
down to me. Became a fan during the Randy Moss rookie season. So
Ooh.
I came in at the right time. Got some
Oh,
exciting plays right there.
yeah.
Yeah, it was great. That
Yeah.
1998 season where they lost to the Falcons in the championship game, though. That was rough.
Yeah. But I mean, you guys obviously having a young and ripe Randy Moss, and opposite side of him, Chris Carter. I just remember just growing
Yeah.
up and just seeing the highlights, and that was just a bad team right there. And I'm getting goosebumps just remembering Dante Culpepper
Yeah.
with the little fugly mask. But yeah, that team was just always scary. I had a high school buddy of mine. He was a diehard Vikings fan, and he's one of the people that turned down the offer. So shout out to you for turning me down. But that's why we get to meet. But yeah, I mean, that's a great time to jump in, and obviously just been a diehard Vikings fan ever since.
Absolutely.
Nice. That's
Going 22 years strong. I think that's the
nice.
same amount of time as your fandom.
Yeah, my Titans and how I became a Titans fan. And I mean, we go through a lot of rough patches, and
I get
even
that.
even though we got a little bit of a nice spurt going, I still, whatever happens happens. I'm tired of I'm tired of breaking TVs. I'm tired of throwing controllers,
Yeah.
smashing cell phones. So whatever happens happens. But so you look at this team right now, and there is a lot of promise. Obviously, you guys did just a couple of years ago removed from the Miracle in Minnesota, or Minnesota Miracle. So, as a diehard fan, I know I'm touching into a lot of deep subjects here. What's been going on, in your opinion?
We're 4 years removed at this point, and the biggest difference to me seems like it's Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
He's a hotly debated topic amongst Vikings fans. I think, if you had that 2017 team, number one defense, set the
yeah,
record for the most stops on percentage for third downs,
yeah,
crazy team. Maybe Kirk Cousins can take you there. That was also the year that Aaron Rodgers missed the season, so we got lucky.
yeah.
But I just don't think we're that close. It's rough.
Yeah, and obviously Aaron Rodgers returning for the Packers this season, so obviously it's going to be another uphill climb.
Yeah.
Cousins, I mean, he had that 1 or 2 good years in his career, Like we were talking about earlier, a lot of comparison with Ryan Tannehill. You got these one-hit wonders, and can they get it done? When the lights are shining on them the brightest, it's just like, can you come through? And I love you guys' Facebook group. I'm keep on scrolling every single day, and all the trash talking, and that uncensored group is really good. But that seems to be the nucleus of a lot of people's anger within the Vikings fandom. And Coach Zimmer has something to blame as well. But you sign Kirk Cousins to this long extended contract, and it's like, all right, is he our franchise? Because clearly the first couple seasons of this new contract, he hasn't been contributing. So, I heard there was a short leash on Kellen Mond last night with that preseason game. So hopefully Cousins can turn it around. Honestly, that's the best case scenario. But as a Vikings fan, what do you think about it?
Here's my take on Cousins.
Please.
He's somewhere between 12 and 15 for best quarterbacks in the league. He's going to be making 30 million this year, 31 million. He's going to make 45 million next year. That's the highest cap hit by about 5 million.
Yeah.
And you can't pay the 15th best quarterback that much money. Like, you just need, for the 15th best quarterback, and you've seen this with your quarterback.
Yeah.
You need a great team around him. You need a complete team. Cousins, he's got a lot of problems. We could go into some detail about that, but really the thing is that he's as good as the team is around him. He's the perfect game manager.
Yeah.
And so can't put that perfect team around him with 30 million cap hits, $45 million cap hits.
Yeah, definitely. And, you look at also injuries, you guys had lost Dalvin Cook for a very long extended part of the season last year, but you have an absolute dynamic back in Dalvin Cook. I actually just picked him up in fantasy, so please do well this year.
Good get.
But I love the dude that you got behind you right there, Adam Thielen, most underrated receiver in the game. And then, of course, Justin Jefferson doing his thing. I felt when he was coming out of college, he was going to be a sleeper. Sure enough, he fell directly right in your guys' laps. And that boy is just a bad man. And I'm hoping, though I'm not really on the Philly train, I see a lot of comparisons with Devontae Smith and Justin Jefferson. But Jefferson's clearly already taken the league by storm. Him doing his little gritty dance and everything. So that dude comes with a lot of swagger, and there's a lot of promise, I feel, up in Minnesota. I really feel that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We do have a good young core of players. Funny story about Philadelphia, they just got Devontae Smith. Last year, they traded up in front of the Vikings right before them to take a wide receiver.
Yep.
And it wasn't Justin Jefferson.
And it was not Justin Jefferson. Yep.
Nah, there's literally a video of Mike Zimmer in the draft room, laughs as soon as he sees it.
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
Yeah. And it's an absolute steal for you guys, honestly. And he's going to be one of the greats, in my opinion. And that's just coming off of his rookie season. Should he be able to stay healthy and work and develop that confidence and that chemistry with Cousins again, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of good things come out of Minnesota for sure.
I hope so. Alternatively, we have a good young core of players on offense for the next quarterback that comes in here.
That is very true. That is very true. So I'm curious, have you been able to come across a lot of Vikings fans up in the Pacific Northwest?
Nah.
Okay.
I mean, you found me on that Facebook group. I joined because I love talking about the Vikings and just don't have too many opportunities up here. This is Russell Wilson country.
Very much so.
I'm very isolated. Felt really isolated after that Blair Walsh kick in 2015 at the 27-yard line, wide left. It was rough.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm hoping for better outcomes for your guys' team, because like I said, they've got a lot of promise. I've been up to Minnesota. I've seen outside of the stadium. It looks absolutely amazing. And I love just the scenery in Minnesota. And, I would not mind going back up there. Now, you had mentioned, your dad being a diehard Vikings fan, and he introduced you to becoming a Vikings fan that you are today. Have you
Absolutely.
been able to go back to Minnesota, your dad's old stomping grounds, and see a game in person in the Hope Stadium, or seen a game of the Vikings?
Yeah. So I want to say it was right after that 98 season that I went up there and saw a preseason game.
Hey, okay.
Yeah, but it's been a minute. But I will be going back this year, Vikings Seahawks game.
Nice. Okay, so in Minnesota, or I don't have the schedule in front of me, or is it here in Seattle?
It's in Minnesota.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, of course, I'm sure you would have loved for it to be a home game for the Seahawks, just going there, but I think it's just a little extra more exciting, seeing the team that you live in the city for, but your team is playing at home. So I'm excited for you.
Appreciate that. The
Yeah.
Vikings have 2 losses the last 2 seasons against the Seahawks in
Yeah.
the Seahawks Stadium. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to see if they can actually beat them at home because, there's a big home field advantage for the Seahawks here. So I'm
Very
excited to
much
see
so.
something else. Yeah.
Yeah. So have you been able to see those games in Seattle when they played the Vikings?
2 years ago, I went.
Okay.
Last year, obviously with COVID,
Yeah.
couldn't go into the stadium. The reason I have the tickets for the Vikings game this year is because I bought tickets last year with an app and got credits instead of a refund. But it's a
Oh,
great excuse to go to Minnesota now.
absolutely. Is your family still back in Minnesota, or everyone had moved to like Portland, Pacific Northwest area?
Everyone's up Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
So
Okay. So just going to go out there, just go enjoy your time and hopefully get a Vikings win.
that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah.
Okay. So obviously, the Vikings are in a very tough NFC North division. The Bears, I've been a big fan of Justin Fields ever since he came out with the documentary on Netflix, QB1. So I've been following his career for some time now. He looks like he's going to be starting probably opening day for the Bears. Lions, I really don't see anything promising coming out of there. Jared Goff, I've witnessed him many years out here in LA,
Yeah.
and actually, I do have something funny about that. And you being a Vikings fan, it is pretty funny to hear. There was somebody, I forget who it was, but they said that Jared Goff has all the qualifications to become the next Dan Marino. So
What
yeah,
are those qualifications? Playing quarterback?
yeah, that's literally the only qualification that I can think of, and that you can throw the ball with a spiral half the time.
Yeah.
So, but I don't see Detroit being a factor. Maybe Chicago, but obviously it's going to be you and the Packers, and obviously there's a lot of animosity with Aaron Rodgers and the Pack, and whether that is going to be played out on the field with his anger, it's to be determined. But clearly, you guys have seen these three teams twice a year, each year. Obviously, I'm sure there's a pure hatred for them, but I kind of see a potential upset where you guys actually take the North. And I say that because if they can put in all these puzzle pieces, I see you smiling at me. I see all these puzzle pieces, and this defense is getting stronger. I still don't think Patrick Peterson is well done. I think he has still a lot in him. Harrison Smith still has a lot in him. Anthony Barr, I believe, still has a lot in him. You guys are bringing back Everson Griffin. And
Yes.
this team, I just feel, especially with the home fans, plays such a huge advantage because everyone saw last year what it was like without fans. I think home field advantage is going to be bringing such a huge impact to how these games are going to be played out. So, you'll be seeing them in person, so you can be able to tell me, how great it was after. I'm sure we'll stay in contact. But you do look at this upcoming season, and realistically, how do you feel about your team?
Realistically, I'm thinking 9-8.
Okay.
So they have the NFC North. It pretty much is just the Packers here, but we also got to play the NFC West. So you got
Yeah.
the 49ers, the Seahawks. Their worst team is the Cardinals, who were almost a playoff team last year.
Yeah.
Top of that, we got the AFC North, who is the Ravens. We got to play in Baltimore. We got to play Pittsburgh. We got to play Cleveland, who people are picking for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So it's a tough schedule.
Very much so.
Yeah. But the defense, it was awful last season. And if you get a Mike Zimmer defense coming together, you got a shot.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of question marks. You got Patrick Peterson. He's got a lot left in the tank, I'm sure. They used him poorly last year.
Yeah.
But he has had 2 bad seasons. So
yeah,
we'll see if that comes together. More than half the starters on defense are new. So I don't know. It's a lot of question marks. And you've heard my take on Kirk Cousins already. So
yeah,
I'm picking 9 and 8.
Yeah. And if not taking the division, maybe, sneaking in with a wild card. And I just think they can kind of get over the hump this year. That's what I'm really trying to get at. And looking at the schedule, I see you're actually gonna be flying out here in, what is it, like 3 weeks or so. So that's something really to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I appreciate your optimism. It might be realism. After being a Vikings fan, it's a rough history. So I've scabbed over a little bit. I'm a little skeptical of their performances. I am looking forward to the season, and I hope they do well.
Yeah, I mean, how I look at everything, each team is going to week 1 0-0, and we got 17 weeks to figure it out. And if there needs to be a quarterback move or a quarterback change, I just saw that Gardner Minshew just got traded to the Eagles. So there's plenty of backup quarterbacks should Cousins, kind of tank. And, obviously the trade deadline. So it's to be determined. But, obviously being a Vikings fan, you'll be seeing them in person. So hopefully that brings a lot of good juju. I'm a big jersey buff. I'm curious, who are you going to be wearing to the stadium, though? Which jersey?
Got a lot to choose from, as you can see, but I'm thinking Hunter right here.
Okay.
He needs to have a big season for the Vikings to do anything. So
yeah,
I'm hoping for it.
That, and like I said, those puzzle pieces, should they be able to get it together, we will see.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Josh, I really appreciate you coming on here, spending your time, and I'm just very envious of that Pacific North weather that's right outside that window right now. But you enjoy the rest of your day. He is my diehard Vikings fan. So until then, guys, you continue to stay passionate. And he's Josh. I'm Solomon. You guys take care. Thank you.
Thanks, Solomon.